I hurried home when I saw the trending topics. My mother, Cassandra Fisher, sat by the window and stared at the roses outside. She and my father, Oscar Gray, had planted them together. He lied to me, Rosie. He told me he would marry me once he'd gained control of the Gray family. What have I gotten after waiting for 30 years? The news of him marrying Lori York, she said brokenly. I crouched by her side and held her hand. Those are just rumors the paparazzi made up. We don't know what the truth is. Dad refused to leave you when Grandpa and Grandma threatened to take their lives, didn't he? Why would he abandon you now that they've passed on? Mom picked up a wedding invitation and handed it to me with a bitter smile. Michael gave this to me and told me to prepare for it. He also reminded me not to cause a scene. Your father felt bad for Lori because she had a son without his knowledge. But did he stop to think about how I gave up everything for him? I willingly spent the past 30 years as his wife without our relationship being legalized, and you've been called an illegitimate daughter all your life. Now all I get is a warning not to cause a scene. A son? Was that why Dad had betrayed Mom and insisted on marrying Lori? Because she'd given him a son who could inherit the family business? Was that why he wanted to bear this so-called responsibility and make Mom suffer the consequences? Mom wept and wrapped her arms around me. He betrayed me, yet he thinks we can continue as we always have. But I'm not a mistress, and you're not an illegitimate child. She stroked my face. Do you want to leave with me, Rosie? Or do you want to remain in Jeldon City with the chap from the Shaw family? I checked a message on my phone at the mention of Christopher Shaw. I'm just registering my marriage with someone else, Rosalie. I don't see why you can't still be my girlfriend. I returned Mom's hug and said, I'm not staying. I'm your daughter, so I'll go wherever you go. There's nothing between Christopher and me anymore anyway. Mom dried her tears and looked at me worriedly. What happened? You and Christopher have already been together for 7 years. Why have you? I smiled bitterly and hid Christopher's message. You can cast Dad aside after 30 years together. What does my 7-year relationship matter? The Shaw and Green families are working together on an important project, and Christopher has agreed to form an alliance with the Green family through marriage. The wedding is on the 15th of this month. As for our relationship, he said we can continue as usual. Mom became angry when she heard that. Continue as usual? That means he wants you to be his mistress, right? How dare he? It's all my fault. You can't even have a proper relationship because of me. Tears streamed down her face again, and she held me tightly while apologizing. I comforted her, but my tears started flowing. I said, we're not at fault in this, Mom. In fact, it's good that we've discovered the truth before it's too late. What do you think about leaving this place and starting afresh somewhere new? After calming Mom down and taking her back to her room, I hurried back to my apartment. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Christopher standing in the living room. Hannah Green was by his side. You're back, Rosie. I knew you couldn't bear to give up on our relationship, he said. My gaze landed on his engagement ring, and I smiled mockingly. You're wearing your engagement ring, and you have your fiancé by your side. Then, you came in here without my permission. Don't tell me you expect me to be nice to you. When Christopher heard the mockery in my tone, he hurriedly tried to explain himself. Why don't you get it, Rosie? I've told you this many times. This marriage with Hannah is only temporary. I can't call the shots on this collaboration between my family and hers. Besides, Hannah has made it clear that she's willing to accept you. Hannah stepped forward and looked at me somewhat arrogantly. Chris is right. You might not realize this, Miss Fisher, but I've seen plenty of people like you in our circle. As long as you don't cause too much trouble, I won't get my parents involved. I can also put in a good word or two for you with the Shaw family. I should say there really is a disparity between those who carry the Gray surname and those who only carry the Fisher surname. She was obviously insulting me. I picked up a glass of water from the coffee table and splashed it at her and Christopher. She screamed, and he hurriedly grabbed some tissues to wipe the water off her face.